Hey friends, welcome to today's video. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be all about how did our preschool year go? Hey friends, welcome back to the video. I'm excited to tell you guys what I've been doing with my preschooler this past year. He was 3 and 4 and he is my 4th son that I am homeschooling, and he loves to do school. He asks to do school. He sees his big brothers doing it. It's a blessing of growing up in a homeschool family. They want to do what their big brother, big or older siblings are doing, and so he sees them doing it, and so he asked me to do school with him. And his attention span is short, so we might do it for a little bit in the morning and then we might do it again in the afternoon if he wants to. He loves to do whatever his big brothers are doing, so he wants to do school like them and have books and sit at the table and feel like important. So I had the table full over here of different books that we've used over the past year, and I'm going to show you guys. Hopefully if you have a preschooler, it'll give you guys some ideas, and I know this time of year a lot of homeschool moms are looking for ideas for next year, so hopefully this video can be helpful. So grab yourself a drink, coffee, tea. I actually have lemon water. I'm trying to be just a little bit healthier, or pile of laundry to fold while you watch this video, and hopefully it'll be helpful. So as we all know, when children are in preschool, they can change a lot in one school year time. So my son was 3 and 4 during this past school year. So what I'm going to kind of show you guys how he progressed. And so depending where your child is, you can kind of pick what level they're at, and if you want, get ideas for them for that age. So during the past year, my son has learned his letter sounds of the alphabet. He doesn't know all the names unless we sing like the song. If they're in order, then he does. But he knows the sounds, in or out of order. And so I know not all 4-year-olds do that, and I'm so proud of him. He's starting to be able to read and blend. But at the beginning of this school year, he did not know his letter sounds at all. Until the end of the school year, he is starting to blend, and I'm really proud of him. He's my first son that has started reading at 4, and I feel like what I've done with him has worked well for him. Now, every child is different. My twins were not ready to start reading until they were more like 7. So I've had across the spectrum, we've had some learning disabilities and stuff like that. So I'm very aware of that. So you have to follow your child and what they're ready for. So what I'm going to do is just show, I've used the same method with my current 4-year-old in preschool, and also when my kindergarten was in preschool, I used the same curriculum with him, and so it works. So I'm just going to show you guys what I've found, what works for me, and what I enjoy using. So I'm going to show you guys several different resources today. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't think you have to use everything I used. It's just I've been homeschooling for a long time. Like I said, this is my 4th son. We've had some learning disabilities, so I've tried various things and I've learned what I liked, what I don't like, what child I like to be able to teach to how my children learn, and so I like to have options available to try out different things. So when he was 3, even like when he was 2, I probably started using these here already. These are from, I got them from CLE, Christian Light Education, or CLP, Christian Light Publications. I think actually Rod and Staff produces these, but they're just thin little workbooks like tracing and coloring and stuff. And then the next step is these here, which are like, they go through like ABC, like this is Adventures with Books. My B one is missing, I don't know where it is, but C, Counting with Numbers, and there's a whole series like to I or J, I'm not even sure. And we have done some of these, we have not done all of them. Some of them we don't have done yet, I'll save for next year, they're still on my shelf yet. Some of them I felt like they were almost getting too hard. It is meant for maybe a child more like kindergarten age, more like 6, and so my child was a bit on the young side, but some of the pages were easy for him. I also picked this workbook up close here in Cambodia where we live, and this is just a Montessori one about animals, and we did this one. And so yeah, just some workbooks more when he was 3 that he wanted to do table work, and this is what I had available for him to do at that age. The ones from Christian Education are very inexpensive and very affordable. And then I also started Gentle and Classical with him when he was 2, and then we continued it this past year. So this is Gentle Classical Preschool. They have different levels, and this one here is for 2 to 4-year-olds, and it has like each week you would do a different storybook, and most of them are on YouTube. That's how I would get them because I don't have access to a library here in Cambodia. You focus on a different letter, a different poem, and there is memory work. I have like a memory board on my wall. There's a little math fact you'll learn, like numbers, like 1 to 10, like easy stuff. And you do Kate Snow's Preschool at Home book with it. It tells you what chapters to do when. And there's art. There's a little poem. There's a little story. You do virtue and catechism and manners and memory statements, like little things that they memorize, and you just go over them. So we did this one, and then about 3/4 through this past school year, we just kind of petered out with it. I had too much else going on with my other kids. and traveling and stuff. And so we actually have not quite finished this because I just quite frankly had too much else going on. I was too busy. But it's a really sweet curriculum. I want to finish it, and I want to get the primer, which is more like a kindergarten level, I believe, and do it with him in the future, but not quite yet. So I have all these little cards in here that I have in the pockets that I would hang up and put on my memory board over here on the wall. The cover is coming off the front here. But Gentoo and Classical is a really great curriculum, just for like literature exposure and for guidance for you as the mom to know what to do with your young preschooler. And then this here is like a morning binder, and it just has little work you can do every day. It didn't work the greatest for us because the weather here in Cambodia is always the same. It never changes. It's hot year round. And then this here was for like number blocks and different stuff. We used this for a while, but we don't anymore. Okay, the next thing I did with him, and I also had done this with Creed when he was this age, was Kindergarten 1 from CLE. I really like this program. This is very cheap, it's very affordable. And then this here is just 5 little skinny workbooks. And like each workbook is like $3-4 individually. This is the teacher's guide, and it tells you exactly what to do when. And we didn't do a lesson every day. There's like 30 lessons. We maybe did 3 a week, I don't know, depending how busy we were and depending if he felt like it or not. Sometimes we would just get half a lesson done till his attention span was done and he was off playing. But it just has very simple, like age-appropriate things in here. It says Kindergarten 1, but I think it's very appropriate for a 4-year-old. There's little Bible memory things, and on my board over here I tried to insert a picture. We had 2 little envelopes, and it tells you in here to do that. They have the printout, you just have to cut it out and glue it together. The one is for little Bible memory verses. Every so often they get a new Bible memory verse. And the other envelope is for numbers, kind of like a dice, where they would have like 1 circle for number 1, 2 circles for number 2, and the child, you go over those flashcards and the child can get to the point where they can like see the dots and know what number it is. So he thought he was big stuff having his own flashcards. And then this here, it was right at the end. See if you can see that. It's a little chart, and I actually copied this for my kindergartner, and they both loved it. So it has like a picture, because they're not reading at this age yet, but like sweep the floor, wash the dishes, and for him, like he'd wash his cup or whatever, like not much, or help someone else rinse, that kind of wash dishes. Make their bed, pick up toys, set the table, brush their teeth, wash their hands after going to the bathroom. And so it has pictures, and then at the top it has like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they put the sticker on. And he just loved filling this out, and then of course he gets a little prize once he gets it done. And my kindergartner and him would race around the house every day trying to like fill it up. And so I was actually thinking it would be fun to make copies, because it's only for 1 week. It would be fun to make a copy of it and do it again. We'll see. But we just finished this one up today. Okay, the next thing I did with him, and I also had done this with my 6-year-old when he was this age, is we did alphabet adventures from Rachel from 7 and All. She is a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and she created this curriculum. She was homeschooled her whole life, and she is now homeschooling her children, and she does a really good job creating curriculum, and it's very cheap and affordable, and the inside is black and white, so it's cheap to print here where I am, so that is a big plus. So it just is meant as a way to introduce the alphabet letters to your child. They don't necessarily have to master it, and it's easy, fun, doable activities. This here is the student guide, and this is the student book, and this here's the parent guide. So I should mention, Rachel also created the Purely Preschool, and she has different units, and these are really good for like 2-3-year-olds. This is, depending on your child, but this one here, unit was themed on transportation. She has a unit themed on me, a unit themed on family, one on, I believe, the different seasons, and I don't know, she has several on her website, and they're very affordable, and they just have fun little activities in there, and I really enjoyed being able to do this with my son. We did these in the past, but anyway, this past year, then we did alphabet adventures, and so it's kind of the next step. These are designed very simple and sweet, and it's not overwhelming for you as the parent. So this would be like 1 week for you as the parent. The first week is just teaching your children that things make sound. So it teaches them like how a cow says moo. They don't necessarily say cow, you know? And so it introduces them to that idea. And then week 2, you start with letter A, and she has what you can do each day. You don't have to follow exactly, but you can, just to give you ideas. So up here, she'll have like a picture book and a song, and then there's usually something about the letter that you're focusing on that week. And these here are all links that you can click on to go to the YouTube video, and then the next week you would move on to the next letter. So the parent guide is just really thin, and this is half the alphabet, and then this here is the student book, part 1, so it's half the alphabet. So again, it's just you go through, and there is a lot of Very simple, age-appropriate things. B says B, and down here we'll have a little activity for you to do. Each letter kind of follows the same pattern, but yet the activities do vary. It's not always exactly the same. There's a little bit of artwork mixed in. Here was some cutting and pasting that we did. And yeah, if you want to see more about this, she has more on her YouTube channel about it. And then this here is part 2, and I think we have about 1 week left in here, and then we're done with that one. I also mixed in doing flashcards. These are numbers, but the second half here is the letters. And we would go over these every day. And then I also have a suggestion for teaching like a toddler or a 4-year-old. This YouTube channel, Toddlers Can Read, I watched a lot of his to help educate me on how to teach a child to read. He has some really good suggestions, and like you introduce like maybe 3 sounds, 3 of the cards a week, or depending on your child, you could do 4, depending on their age and where they're at mentally. And just say the sounds, focus on the sounds, repeat those, just like 5 minutes and repeat them. And then maybe the next week you'd review a few and then only add 3 or 4 new ones and play games, have them run and jump on them, have them shoot it with their Nerf gun, stuff like that. The following week you would add 3 more, 4 more, and really praise them while they're doing it. And if they're forgetting some, then stop and review, and don't take 1 week to review maybe. I don't know, he has lots of tips and tricks on his YouTube channel. So if it's your first time teaching a child to read, I would highly recommend watching something like that. And also JDA, she's a lot of good information on teaching children to read. So as you as a parent, as a teacher, educate yourself on it. I think it would really, really help. But if you face learning difficulties, don't be afraid also to go out and get the help you need for that too. Anyway, so he mastered his letters doing that. And so then I had this here from JDA. It's called Elemental Phonics Level 1, Basic Phonic Lessons to Begin Reading. So once your child knows the sounds of the alphabet, then they can start blending. And so this book is just practice blending. You would just put your finger on the dot and say b, a, ba, and then b, e, be, and do 1 page. That's lesson 1. And then the next day they would come and do the next page, and then gradually it moves up to 3-letter words, and up until the very end of the book they're doing sentences. So here where this sticker is, about halfway through here, and he's doing okay. It's hard for him, so I'm not pushing it. We don't do this every day, maybe once or twice a week, and review his letter sounds, and maybe till next year he'll be a little more ready for this. We'll see. Okay, next of all is sunlight. We used this past year. This is some of the books, a lot of the books, most of them. There's a few I couldn't quite hold all of them. It's quite the stack. But this is Core T, and it's called Fiction, Fairy Tales, and Fun. And I did this with my 2 younger boys, the 3- and 4-year-old, and then my other son was 5 and 6 during this past school year. And it was a really sweet, fun way to get in lots of good stories with them, lots of cuddle time on the couch. We actually ended up doing it a lot in the evening in their bedroom because they're a little more restful and quiet and peaceful, and my morning was already pretty full with doing all the rest of my boys' school. So I actually really like doing it at bedtime because they're calmer and they sit there and listen and focus and cuddle, and it's really sweet. And actually often my older boys would come and listen to the stories also. So I did a whole video showing all these books in detail and going through and talking about them, but I just want to show you, like, it included Bible. These were short little stories, like 2-page spread, and he could understand them. He couldn't always answer the questions, but his 6-year-old brother can always answer them. So I thought it was pretty age appropriate. It has little missionary stories in there, and then it also has like nursery tales. And this here is like an Usborne look inside your body. It has like lift the flaps in here. So it kind of covers a lot of different subjects in Sunlight. This here is Mother Goose, which is a lot of poems and poetry, and you read roughly 1 page a day in here, and all my boys actually really like this book. The poems are really sweet. This is my working binder for Sunlight, and the bigger binder I keep over on my shelf so I don't have to carry it around up to their bedroom, stuff like that. And I put about a month's worth of curriculum in here at a time, and the instructor's guide tells you exactly what to do as the teacher. It's scheduled for 3 days a week. You could do more if you wanted. You would just get through it quicker. It has 30 weeks of curriculum, and it goes through, it has like your Bible, and then it has like a letter of the week, a shape of the week, and a number of the week. And they have activities for that. There's a preschool kit that comes with it with like flashcards that are sandpaper, so you can fill the letter, you can fill the number. And there's also flashcards with little red circles. You put, like, for number 1, you put 1 little red circle on that card, and 2 you put 2, and 3 you put 3, so they can see it. And you practice putting the cards in order, and they have all the ideas in here. Like on the next page here, they have a lot of stuff for you as a teacher, what to read, what to do on what days. Then they have science, which is the look inside your body one. And then they have the read alouds, and they have practical life skills and art. They have different things on here, like juice an orange, cut up paper and glue it. And then down here is music and Spanish. So they have a song for you to listen to. Usually there's a YouTube link. And then there's a little Spanish book to introduce your child. It's like a board book just to teach them a couple words. So these are some of the books that we read with that. I really like how they pick high quality stories, how Sunlight does, and they'll pick stuff like this that has a whole bunch of stories inside, and it's really sweet and fun. This one here has been a family favorite. It has all these stories here inside, and this one my boys have pulled off the shelf numerous times and asked me to reread a story. I've talked about this before, but there's one here, Pizza, and they want to reenact that one and play it out and laugh and giggle the whole time. This one here is more like social studies. What do people do all day? A Richard Scary Book, which those are always so fun to look at the pictures of so much going on. This was a new one for us. It's Our Family Friend, that is about farm and animals and what their character was like and personality of the different animals, and it's so cute and fun. It was fun to read. So that is just a handful of the books, and like I said, I have a video showing you more detail. Okay, I have a couple workbooks and a couple ideas here for you guys if you're homeschooling a preschooler, just to help give ideas. I know how it is. They want to do school and you're like, oh, what can I do with them quick while you're trying to teach someone else? This here is a name activity where I wrote his name on a big piece of paper and then wrote each letter on a little index card, and then he has to line up the letters in the correct order to match his name. And we have now, that's pretty easy for him now. I've moved on to more writing his name like with a big fat marker on a big piece of paper, and he puts stickers on his name, or he uses a highlighter and try to trace it, or on a whiteboard and try to trace it, different stuff like that. And then I have this here as a PDF and printed it, and this here is Doodles and Pre-Writing from The Good and the Beautiful Part 2. And so he did that. I got Preschool Beginner Math. This is from JDA. We got this set. She has 3 in the set. You can get them off Amazon, or you can get it from her Teachers Pay Teacher store and print it yourself. This one here was pretty easy for him. He loved it and flew through it. The other ones we haven't done yet. We'll probably save those and do those next year. But it's for ages 2 to 4, and yeah, it was perfect for him. It's just simple little things. And it was something really easy for him to do while I was working with another child, and I could just tell him like on each page the directions, and then he was good to go. This here is from the Critical Thinking Co. We did this here last year, but this is more for 3-year-olds, and then this one here is more for 3 and 4-year-olds. And you just go through, you don't even have to write. You can just use your finger and point, but you just go through and there's questions for you to ask the child, and they point to the correct thing. It has some to do with numbers, but a lot to do with like shapes and colors and reasoning. And then this one here is kind of the next step up. They'll have like, does a triangle have curves? Does a triangle have a straight line? Does a triangle have more than one straight line? And you have to answer it. They do patterns, like on this page over here, there's a bunch of patterns. And then they talk a lot about like straight lines and curvy lines and sorting them accordingly. And they have pages like what came first, what came second, what came third. And then they'll do little things over here like Can You Find Me? It's a little poem, and then you have to figure out which of the 4 pictures it's talking about. For example, let me read this one. I'm not whole, I'm just a part. With 2 of me, you'd have a full heart. Of the four pictures that you see, tell me now, can you find me? And the child has to point to which one it would be. Next of all is some little flashcards that I got from JDA's Teachers Pay Teachers store, and these are kind of like social studies. There's a set A and a set B, and I showed the B one in my 4th grade review of our school year, how it went. And this one here is for K through 2nd grade, and it's things like what are your parents' full names, when is your birthday, what state or city do you live in, what are the primary colors, how many planets are there, why is wearing a seatbelt important, what to do if you get kidnapped, what continent do you live on, what do you do if a stranger asks you to go with them, are you male or female? What number to dial an emergency? What is your mom phone number? Which is your left hand? Which is your right hand? Just good stuff like that. And so what I did is I would just have them go through the whole stack and see how many they could get right, and then try again in a couple days and see how many they get right, see if they could improve until they pretty much had the stack memorized. It only takes like 5 minutes. And then probably what I'll do is just put it away for a while and pull it out again next year and do the same thing again, just to make sure we review it and keep that fresh on their mind. Okay, and next of all, this is like Explode the Code, but this here is like Get Ready for the Code. It's A, B, and C, and it's just like phonetic awareness. It's working with letters. So you just go through here and there's different activities to do. And we are only on book A, so we'll probably do book B and C next year, which is perfectly fine. I don't really use the teacher's guide much, but you could use it if you're using this as your primary way to teach letter sound. Next of all is Developing the Early Learner. And this here is kind of an old curriculum, but it has a lot of like critical thinking skills in it. It's mostly black and white, and I actually did 2 of these, and I did them with this one, with this son, and with my kindergartner, and they loved doing it together. And then it has answers in the back if you need it. And yeah, they just thought it was really fun to have something they could do together. They have to listen to 2 different sounds and circle the happy face if the sounds sound the same, and circle the sad face if they sound different. And then you're also supposed to get a tray and put like 5 objects on, and then have them study it for a minute, close their eyes, you take one object away, and then they're supposed to figure out if they can see which one's missing, and they have to circle like which thing would be missing in there. It explains it. Sometimes there's like hidden pictures stuff, they define the things, tracing, like stay inside the lines, and yeah, lots of different ideas. These here are Cumin workbooks, and I can pick these up locally here where I live. They are like sticker and paste. This one here is scissor practice. I have like an area where I keep some of his workbooks, and if he were doing school and he wants something to do, he can go over there and pick one of his books to do. But this one here is Brain Quest for preschool, just a workbook. This here is School Zone. I like School Zone stuff. And this here is School Zone also. It's just a big preschool book. And these 2 he is done with, and this one here almost done with. And my last resource is more for you as the parent. This is what your preschooler needs to know to get ready for kindergarten. And it has stories in here, little poems and songs. And a lot of the part I really like is the poems and songs that have like hand motions to go with it, and like finger plays. And so we'll work on memorizing like a little poem or something. Like there's one about bees, and then they all go buzzing away. And when they're really young, it's really fun to do that with them. They think it's so much fun, and we still enjoy occasionally pulling it out and going over it. I have not read every single story in here, every single poem, every single song. I don't view it like that. There's a science section, history section. I don't view it as something that we're working from cover to cover. Instead, I just go through and pick out something. Like if we're talking about ants, and one day he's really interested in it, we could show him that and talk about that more. Yeah, mostly I use the stories part and like the hand motions that has for the stories or the song or the poem. So if this is your first time teaching preschool, or you're just looking for some more ideas, this here's a nice resource to have for you as the mom, as the teacher. Okay, so I think that's everything I have that I did with my preschool this past year. Like you saw, some of the stuff like Explode the Code we'll keep working on next year. And CLE Kindergarten, there's a Kindergarten 2, we'll keep working on that next year. It's just fun for him. Not everything we did in the morning, like his sunlight, we would often do in the evening at bedtime, and view it more as our like devotions in the evening for him, as a really sweet time. So I hope this video was helpful, gave you as a homeschool mom or teacher some ideas. And please comment down below in the description box, what do you use with your preschooler? What have you enjoyed? Do you have any suggestions for me for the upcoming year? Thank you guys for watching this video. See you guys again soon. Bye.